If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.
Well, this is just a total flip from being a late night podcast. But Daylight is still going to be up here for like another hour and a half in Colorado. So we're switching things up. It is episode 117 of the Far End of the Bench. You thought you were going to get away from us last week, but we did drop a special bonus UFC 281 recap. So check that out. It was awesome getting Rev back on. And obviously, he and I will have a big top of the mountain to discuss this coming Friday. CSU Pueblo lost to the Colorado Mines. So it's been a busy week. There's a lot to catch up on. World Cup is going strong. There are 2 games. Is US 2 games in or 1 so far?
It's one game in, and then as you're listening to this, the next day will be on Black Friday. We have USA versus England, which we'll cover a little later on. But yeah, no, there's only one game in.
18-12 revenge game.
Exactly. Here we go, boys.
Oh boy, and it's being fought in a Middle Eastern country. Who would have thunk? Right?
I know. Right? Yeah.
Before we get into all that, plus it is the Thanksgiving week episode, so we're going to start off talking about Thanksgiving and some of the things that we're looking forward to. This is the Far End of the Bench podcast. Jimmy Pilato, Niko Bryant. We are presented by the Variety Sports Network. Episode 117, like I said. You can follow us at FEOTB Pod. Subscribe to our YouTube channel wherever you're listening. Follow along as well. Follow the Variety Sports Network at Variety_Sports_. And if you follow the network, you'll get all of the other shows. So Fat Boy Fadeaway, Talking the Gridiron every Sunday, 7th Inning Stretch, Blue Notes. There's a lot of other shows from all around the country. So follow the Variety Sports Network. We're super proud to be a part of that kind of that affiliation, and we'll get into some of the other sponsorships and everything before we're done with today's episode. But we're starting things off thankfulness. This is a good time of the year, almost at the end. I feel like pretty much every company except for the one that I moved into now with schooling kind of winds everything down by Thanksgiving. I'm still having to plan like 3 weeks and a test, so my kids aren't going to be too happy with me, but we're at the time where we're kind of ready to take a break. And Niko, I guess we're going to kick things off with just what we've kind of been thankful for, either through the podcast, because like we said, this is 2.5 years of doing the show now, or just in general. I mean, there's a lot of other good things going on outside of just our sports fandom. It was a good year. I will start off by saying that it was a good year, but what are you thankful for, my man?
So I'll do a 2 for. I'll give a sports one and I'll give everything else one. So my sports one, I am thankful for Nikola Jokic and I'm thankful for this Colorado Avalanche team, because I will tell you one thing: I will never, ever, and I mean ever, not cherish good teams and good players, because some of my teams just decide they don't want to play. So I am very thankful that those 2 teams and those players can give me joy this time of the year, instead of having to watch that team that plays on Sunday every week. I'm not even going to name them at this point. So I'm very thankful for them to get me through these tough times. And every other day, whether it be it's an Avs game, which I'll be at the one on a Wednesday night, or it's a Nuggets game, which I'm basically at every game as it is. So they bring me joy, and I'm thankful for them being able to get me there. Like I said, I'm outside of that, thankful for obviously all of our listeners and all Variety Sports Network too, and us being able to join and having such an awesome time. I mean, it's been such an amazing transition and helping us grow our podcast. Obviously, you and I have been so busy the past 2 or 3 months with a lot of different life things going on, and I'm very, very thankful that we still get to do this every week and enjoy the hell out of it. So it's 117 deep, and it feels like we're 5,000 deep, and it just, like I said, it keeps getting more and more fun as we go, and I'm very, very thankful for that joy that this brings me, and having you along with the ride for me in this especially.
It's kind of crazy. Like the kids that I'm teaching now are the age of the 2 of us when we first met. A little older than that, but that's how long you and I have known each other. So I am still like, that's the best thing about the show, is that no matter what, we're gonna get together once a week and talk about something sports related. We would have done that. We would have tried to do that anyways.
Yeah.
But now we kind of get to share that with an audience that is growing. So I'm thankful for the people who listen. I'm thankful for my family. Obviously, the last few months have been kind of up and down with, starting the new career, going through some other things personal wise. I have a bedroom for the first time in like 3 years, because we're finally getting close to finishing up the basement. We got the light up now. It's up permanently. the biggest bench warmer of them all, Rocky back here. So
Yep.
yeah, my family is what I'm thankful for, and I'm excited to. I'm just gonna gorge myself. I wish there was hockey on. That would make it a perfect day. I know that there's probably basketball. I know that there's a World Cup, but if I had 3 NFL games plus like 1 or 2 primetime NHL games, I can just sit in front of the couch all day. My mom bought me a 24 rack of Coors Banquets. I'm just gonna be loving life. I tell the story all the time, like Thanksgiving and New Year's, or like the day after Christmas when all of the bowl games are on and it's sports from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. I had a Fitbit one year, and the Fitbit was like, should I call? Did you pass out? What's going on here? You haven't moved
Are
in
you
like
asleep?
8 hours.
No, I mean, look, everyone behind the scenes for us too, like our families and everyone that, or we like we said, we could not be able to do the show without them. So we're very, very thankful to do all that. And like I said, Thanksgiving is a time of the year where where if you see a loved one, you hug them. If you don't get to see them in person for whatever reason, you make sure you reach out to them, because like I said, we're all here together, and life gets crazy. Life is fucking nuts, and it's nice. It's especially this time of the year where you can enjoy, like we do every week, enjoy watching sports and enjoy being around your family, yelling at the TV, yelling at the Lions to cover +9.5, stuff like that. Basically, that you can do on a normal Thanksgiving. So, yeah, it's one of the best holidays of the year, and this time of the year is always so much fun.
Do you have a favorite meal that you're looking forward to? What's your guilty here? Well, what's your favorite meal? And what's your guilty pleasure on Thanksgiving that you eat way more of than you probably should?
My guilty pleasure is the Hawaiian rolls. Oh my god, I fucking mac on Hawaiian rolls with butter. Warmed up Hawaiian rolls with butter. Oh, I eat way too much of that, and I forget to eat too much turkey. If I'm being honest with you, I mac on that because it's so good. And then the number one dish, not the number one dish, because turkey is the number one dish. Don't get me wrong. I love mashed potatoes, love all that. But the dish that is snuck its way into my heart, it still does. I repeat, I said it last year. It's the sweet potato marshmallow brown sugar dish that is just always every single year just slaps. It's delicious, and I'm so looking forward to that again this year.
I have the homemade noodles in my freezer currently. My dad mixed 12 eggs worth of noodle dough. We rolled homemade noodles, and we make every year chicken noodle soup. My grandma's actually upstairs currently mixing the broth and getting all of that stuff put together, but we put real carrots in it, real chicken. Like, we have the chicken off to the side that you cut up and put into the soup. But like those clumps of homemade noodles after they soak in that broth for like 25-ish hours by the time that you're sitting down. Because that's, you go soup, back to football for a little nap, and then turkey, and then the big nap at the end. And we're hosting it this year. So I don't even have to worry about, most of the time I worry about
driving home,
sleeping too much. Like,
I can wake up 5 minutes before everyone needs me, and then I'm set to go.
Yeah, well, that's the bad thing about the Italian family gathering. It takes 45 minutes. You have to wake up 45 minutes early so that you can get your shoes on, go say bye to everybody. Okay, yes, bye. Oh, no, yes, great to see you. And then you got to go around again because you're not sure if you hit everybody on the first time.
And then you do it again. You're like, fuck, I think I've hit you 3 times.
I think we've said bye. Can I just leave now?
Yeah, I think it's time to roll.
And I guess the underrated one that not many people, we put out pepperoni every year because Italian family. I eat like,
that makes sense, but
a pound. I eat pepperoni by the pound on Christmas.
Do you just get the big stick and just everyone get a knife and just start cutting?
No, just it's the little packages that we put out in like a relish tray, or sometimes, depending if I get lucky, if I go to certain family members,
or whatever it's called, charcuterie, whatever.
That a little bit, and then depending on the Italian relative that I go to, they make little dried sausages like that big. You eat like 50 of those in a little bowl. Just it's like dog treats. I can't.
I've had those at your family functions. Those just fucking are dangerous.
They hit different, and they're a little spicy too. So that, like, I gotta go again.
A little kick to it. Like, but I guess I gotta down this with a beer now, and then one thing turns another. You're like, fuck, I've been here for 3
Why is Jimmy dancing on the table again? Another Thanksgiving in a row. Yeesh.
What are we doing now, boys?
Once Big Deal Brewing is released nationwide in the States, or I'm able to get my hands on it, I think that's gonna be That might be my beer of choice for the rest
Oh yeah,
of
that
time.
looks so fire. It looks so fire. I'm gonna have me some too when I get some. Oof.
I'm looking forward to it. That's kind of the best part about these holidays too, is that you get to go to the liquor store and you kind of buy the nice one too, because it's family. It's
It's
a good
special,
family
yeah.
gathering. Yeah, it's special. We're gonna take a shot. I'm gonna sip my bourbon in the corner. But no, and there's a lot that has been going on that we're super thankful for. Are you ready to get actually before we get into sports? There is a hot debate that I wanted to get into. People are starting to say that turkey, like Thanksgiving is great and the idea is awesome. Whether you believe in the story, who knows? But it could be better. Like we could have picked a better meal than turkey. Why? Why turkey?
No, no, hold on,
Oh,
no.
I struck
Look,
a nerve. I
I
see.
like turkey, but what other time are you gonna eat turkey? Ham is
Never.
ham is Christmas.
Yeah.
I mean, chicken. You can have chicken whenever you want. It's because it's chicken. Everybody loves chicken. And I mean, look, it's this holiday. The little turkey. Look, it's not for us, okay, old people. It's for the little kids. Because at schools like yourself, that they draw the turkey with their hand
Yeah.
and draw the outline and make it give him a little pilgrim hat and go from there. It's a good dish. Look, if you don't like turkey, you're eating it wrong. Let's play it that way, okay? You're doing it wrong because there's things that you can put with it. Because I'm a big turkey guy. I like turkeys on my sandwiches more than ham. I'm a big turkey guy. So I'm all in for it, man. So if you don't like the way your turkey tastes, then try the dark meat. If you don't like the dark meat, try the white meat. If you don't like how dry it is, put some gravy on that sucker. You don't like how it blends together, put some mashed potatoes with that fork in. You're just eating it wrong. That's
Heat it
all
up
I'm
in a
gonna say right
sandwich
there.
the next day. Heat it up in a sandwich the next
Exactly.
day.
You can make panini, some sandwiches with some sourdough bread, and it always hits. It always hits.
That
So
is,
so for,
yeah.
for those people, you're just doing it wrong. You need to broaden your horizons and realize all the great things this animal has done for us and what it will do for us on this great holiday and the shortage of turkeys we have this time of year.
Dude, the bird that's sitting in our fridge right now is 25 pounds. It is massive. And they're
We
showing it
fucking
on Sunday
jack that
night.
shit up on steroids.
Yeah, no, they're showing the ones on Sunday Night Football that they actually slaughter for us. And those things couldn't survive. They're bright white.
Oh
First
my
off, they
gosh,
have
yeah.
no natural coloring defense. And then their breasts are so large that when they go to run, they just fall over. So if an animal was hunting them in the wild, these things would be dead in the water.
That in a minute, yeah, they would not last past the year of 3 years old.
The turkeys that the natives, like if you're going back to the first Thanksgiving story, the turkeys that the natives got, those were like hardcore CrossFit turkeys. Those are the turkeys that are doing tires every day. Like I'm not getting caught. I'm living to fight another day. There's also the historical conspiracy theory that the natives were just trying to show how bland the food was. So they're like, here, pilgrims, have some turkey. It's the driest bird that we offer. Don't eat any of the good bison. We don't need to stick with bison right now. You eat the turkey.
Exactly. We don't eat many birds. Like birds aren't a thing we eat. So you know what? Cherish the good bird.
Cherish the good bird.
It's a good bird. It's a good bird.
Yeah. Other than being thankful, American Thanksgiving is kind of where, if we're going to transition now into sports, since this is a sports podcast, about 15 minutes into it. Yeah.
I didn't realize it was.
The NHL, it pretty much sets a deadline around American Thanksgiving to kind of see where teams are at. You've had about 2-ish months. It's still a weird schedule. The Avalanche having that European trip in the middle, it's like they only play once every 3 weeks, and then now they're going to start playing every other day, so it's going to seem like a lot. But this is kind of where we can start to separate the teams that we know are going to be good and the teams that we knew were going to be bad, ergo Chicago, Arizona, the teams that were like, oh, they're not as bad in the standings as we thought they were going to be. They still only have 15 points going through. Like,
Jimmy, we have a team in the NHL that still hasn't won a game in regulation. The Anaheim Ducks have not won a game in regulation yet.
Yeah, remember when I said that I thought they were going to sneak in as the 7 seed?
Yeah, I had that conversation too.
Yeah, no, I remember that. The Avalanche, though, speaking of them specifically, Landeskog goes on LTIR. No Val for, I think, at least another 3 weeks. Some other injuries that are floating around. Byram has been out. Gerard has been out. So that all of a sudden that depth that we had in defense has been tested a little bit. McDermott, I think, is also a little bit banged up. So we haven't seen him out on the ice quite as much. all you're doing right now is you're trying to see where the thin parts of your team are, or the parts of your team that you think you need to get better. And then they're shopping. Teams are already starting to shop for the deadline. I think that Joe Sakic and Chris McDermott, right? Not McDermott. What's
No,
the
McFarland.
McFarland. Wow.
Close, we're close.
Sakic and McFarland are kind of just shopping around, seeing who's going to be available at the deadline, because now you have teams Vancouver, Anaheim, Chicago, Arizona. Chicago's been a team that we've been talking about a lot that have pieces that could be enticing at the deadline. As much as I don't want to see it happen, like it's almost like it makes too much sense.
It really does.
Honestly, there's some teams too that you might not have necessarily thought were going to be sellers at the trade deadline, but this is kind of what we're seeing with the Colorado Avalanche. They're still able to win games with their lack of depth, and trotting out half of what I would say is their AHL roster if they had all of their guys healthy. Cogliano, as much as I love the way he plays, he's going to get bumped back to a fourth line role when everybody comes back healthy. The fourth line right now is going to be down and playing in Loveland for the Eagles, I think, once everybody comes back. I honestly don't think that any of those guys are going to be sticking around, and that's okay. Remember last year when we were talking about the end of the regular season, and then the nine starters from the lineup at the end of the regular season didn't start in the game one of the playoffs, and they didn't need to.
Yeah, look, everything you just said was right on the money. This team is trying to find out, okay, who's going to be, who on this squad right now that's playing right now is going to be helping us in March and April and when we get to the end of the season and into the playoffs. It's who's the guys and who aren't the guys. That's exactly what you're seeing with this team. Because look, Mac and Kale and Co are still getting theirs. They absolutely are getting theirs. But what you're seeing right now is what guys you can trust right now. Right now, guys that I trust. Erod has been unbelievable. Erod is a guy I can trust. You can trust Lehkonen. You know you can trust him. You can trust the likes of JT Compher. You can trust the likes of an LLC. But Devontae's I'm more talking the offense side because I'm not worried about the defense. The defense is going to be sick strong, really. That's the one position where I'm like, yeah, we don't really. Maybe it'd be nice to get another Jack Johnson type player, where it's another veteran. That's the seventh defenseman that doesn't suit up but is always ready. Because, like I said, you have your three pairs on defense, no problem. It's more this offensive depth because the amount of people you're missing. So, like I said, Joe's going to be busy, and if all things point correctly, the salary cap will go up this offseason. So it gives you a little bit more spending ability, being like, you know what, if we trade for a guy, we may be able to keep him around another year. So we like if it's a veteran on a good contract, you can easily take that type of contract and go from there. So, and look, like I said, I've been overwhelmed with how great of a goaltending combo we have right now. It has to be the best 1-2 punch in hockey right now. I know I'm biased. I don't care. Fight me. But the best 1-2 punch right now in hockey is what the Colorado Avalanche has. Because Frankie could start on a lot of teams right now, and Georgiev is showing what he was capable of when he got playtime in New York. So I'm in love with what we're seeing on the back end. You just would love to see more points out of the New Hooks of the world, out of the likes of fucking Cogliano, obviously, and a couple of the younger wings as well. The Rantas
it would be
of
nice
the world.
to see Martin Kaut and Maltsev start showing that they can be NHLers, because right now they're just career AHL guys.
Absolutely, and on Wednesday night, Oscar Olsson, the first round pick for 2021, is making his debut. So we'll see what he looks like in the coming weeks, because I'm excited to see what kind of prospect he could be. So like I said, it's a lot of depth pieces. And it's a lot of guys. Like, if you guys forgot, remember the likes of Tyson Jost and the likes of
Tyson Jost is on waivers right now too.
I don't know, he got picked up by Buffalo, but the likes of Nikita Zadorov were like, these guys are young pieces, man. Why don't we keep them? Well, Joe was just baiting them out for people. That's what some of these people are in reality. Some of these AHLers, it's not just your position on the Avs, it's your position somewhere else too. Because if you're a team like, I don't know, fucking Buffalo, or who lost 8 straight coming into Tuesday night, or whether it be Columbus, who was digging and clawing for anybody to play that's worth the shit. I mean, you try to get some of these young guys on good teams and dump some big contracts or big time players to see where you're at, and that's a lot of these guys' players' roles right now. Because Ranta's not going to be a top 3 guy, and I would love Martin Kaut to be that, but right now he's only that because of injuries. And like I said, if he wants to get himself into a good position, he needs to play his heart out and try to get himself traded. Or if you want to take another cup run, great, and then come along for the cup run, and then that's what Joe wants to do with you, and that's what Joe wants to do with you. But like I said, it's a tryout for a lot of these guys, and we're still fucking winning games, right? It's a tryout for we won 7 in a row, something like that. 3 in a row.
We're 7-3 in our last 10.
7-3,
and you're winning games that are other than the
ugly games.
Other than the Washington game that was just a beauty to watch.
Poor Darcy.
They're really gritty. Poor Nicholas Abe-Kubel. What are you talking about?
Oh, that dude got put on.
Nathan McKinnon pulled his pants down and skated around him, and that was his buddy last year. I heard shout out to our guys that Tell It As It Is. They made it like, if you are not in burgundy and blue with Nathan McKinnon, you are the fucking enemy, and you should get out of the way. It goes back to that Alex Petrangelo, the meme from a couple years ago when they're playing on Lake Tahoe, and he picks up speed. You just hear, "Oh boy,
oh boy, oh boy, hey, boy, get out of the way."
Do you know who's in net for the game that you're going to tonight? Is it Georgie?
No, I think I haven't looked at it. I thought the other night was Georgia, so I would expect maybe Frankie.
Who are they going against tonight?
We're playing Vancouver tonight.
Oh, it might be Frankie then, because he said that the last time that I was listening to the game on the radio, they had Bednar on, and Bednar says he wants to see Georgie in almost all of the division games, if not all, and that's kind of what he's been showing
division?
too. Vancouver's in the Pacific.
Oh, you're
not
right.
Technically, they're Western Conference, but they got 15 points on the season. It really doesn't matter. There was a couple things that I was looking to talk about with this Avalanche team before we move on and talk more about the general standings overall. Georgiev in 12 games is 9-2-1, a 2.40 goals against, and a 929 save percentage. Francouz in 5 games is 2-3. So 2-3, not necessarily great, but he's got kind of the worst end of the stick, seeing a lot more shots. He's still at a 242 goals against average and a save percentage of 925, which makes the Avs 11-5-1 and 247-928 total as a team. We were talking about that going into the Stanley Cup Final Series last year. If we got that out of both of our goaltenders, we're Stanley Cup champions. And I think there is definitely not quite as much talent currently as the team that we saw in the playoffs, because they don't have the trade deadline pieces, and they don't necessarily have they don't have all of their weapons that they're going to have. But they're getting the goaltending that we've dreamed of last year.
Absolutely. Like, it seems every single year we're realizing every year it's not necessarily the guy behind the net. It's the guys from them. It's a recurring theme. It really is. It's 3 years now with 3 different starting goaltenders, and each one has been in the conversation for the best goalie of the season. It's like there's a theme happening. And look, there's no slight to Georgia, but when you give a good goalie confidence, he turns into a great goalie. That's all you're doing with these guys right now, and it's worked out perfectly for them. I mean, like I said, Georgia has been everything you could have wanted and so much more. The guy is going to be here for another 2-3 years, or was it a 4-year deal? I think it was 2 years.
I think it's 3. Him and Georgiev, but him and Frankie are going to be here for 5 years.
Either way, you have these dudes locked up, and they're perfectly fit, and they're on a hell of a contract too, which makes life so much nicer. So, like I said, I really love what I've seen from him. I was happy with the trade too, because I was worried just going into the season with Frankie, because Frankie's a good goaltender, but he's not number
not
one.
Durable.
He's a great number 2 and an excellent number 2. And we're gonna need him. Like I said, we're gonna need him like we did last year. But right now, what I'm seeing out of Georgiev is showing me everything I could want and so much more.
I think that's fair. The other thing that I wanted to bring up too with this is a little bit different attitude with this Avalanche team. I know that you retweeted it. I retweeted it. Chicklets retweeted it. It's been going around. It's fun to listen to it with all the different announcers, because Connor McGahey is a little bit more amped up. Moser was awesome too. I'm not going to give any slight to those guys, but the altitude. This Josh Manson fight with Jamie Benn as much as it doesn't necessarily seem like a big deal, because who cares? It's a fight in like the second period of a game in late November. Who really cares? Jamie Benn for like the last 15 years has been the cruiserweight of the NHL. That's the cruiserweight champion. He's not the biggest guy. He doesn't fight all the time. He's not Ryan Reeves. He doesn't have the heavyweight title, but he's a solid cruiserweight that doesn't get beat all that often. And when he does get popped, he still normally wins. And like they go basically,
he's on his feet. Yeah,
he's on his feet, or he goes with the judo throw and gets on top of the other guy, and then technically you win, even if you got beat up on the feet. I said it last year. I wanted a Manimal jersey. I want a Manimal jersey even more. I think what sold me on it was that save in the Blues game where Helmer had the winner. That was an awesome play. But the way that he's a bull. Like he plays the
dog.
Game. He's a bully. He throws the body and he doesn't back down. And he went up against a guy in Jamie Benn and knocked him cold. I will say that. He knocked him out cold on the ice. He woke up and he was able to skate himself off. This was a dude that we weren't sure was going to be here. And now he's standing, fighting the captain of the opposing team and knocking his ass out for you. You can't tell me that didn't push this team to that overtime, that shootout win. If they don't have that energy jump, I think Dallas might jump on them in the second period. I was fully expecting the Stars to win that game.
And Dallas is a team that is right now tied for the first number.
They are number one in our division. They're 2 games at 2 points ahead of us
because of 2 overtime losses. So they're same losses as us in Winnipeg. It's basically same tracking. So right now, and like I said, we both said Dallas is going to be a good team. We both saw what we saw out of Dallas in the first round of playoffs. It's a big win. This Avs team is getting wins against good ball clubs. That's what you want to see. Everyone. Like, I'm not saying everyone, but there are groups of people that are freaking out, being like, "This team's not dominating. This team's not doing that. This team's not doing that." The Stanley Cup hangover is a real thing. It is. It's not even sugarcoating. It's a real thing. And this team is performing like this at the start of the season and getting to a point where, you know what? We're performing, we're getting wins, ugly wins against good teams with our backups right now. That just gives you more confidence for the playoffs. Because when you got the dogs running and you got the dogs hungry, the other little dogs in the background, the little chihuahuas in the background barking too, are going to have just as big of a bite. So it's like I said, it's everything you could want, so much more with this Avs team. It's the perfect trajectory, and I'm not even worried about some of the starting 4 and 5. I'm not even worried about some of these losses against bad teams, because I'm more worried about what this team is performing like against when the lights come on against good teams, and that's what I'm seeing a lot out of this team right now.
They're playing some really good hockey, even in the games that they're losing. That Blues game was disappointing, and I'm now down 0-1 in that bet that I have against Brandon. So if they lose another one against the Blues before they win 2 more, I'm going to be teaching in a St. Louis Blues sweater, and I'm going to hate my life for that day. They played really well in that game. Jordan Binnington he's a spiteful little human. When he has no reason to be.
Little bitch. Yeah.
I'm trying to clean myself up a little bit. I'm trying to help my image. If you let me really say what I think about Jordan Binnington, if you let me really say that, I'd probably be losing my job. I may be banned from the internet. I might get the Andrew Tate experience if you let me really talk about how I feel about Jordan Binnington. He plays well against the Avalanche. He played out of his mind, and that team too. Like, going back to that 2019 season when they won the Cup, they were dead last in January, and they were able to turn themselves around. They are one of those scary teams that are never out of it. I'd say them and Dallas, when we see them in the playoffs, those are my 2 highest stress playoff series. And we might see them both.
Vegas gives me a little bit of worries, too.
Vegas just sucks.
They've been on, too.
Yeah, no, Vegas just sucks because when we do inevitably play Vegas in the playoffs again, you know that's what they're going to bring up. And that year, too, was when we lost 8 straight playoff games between the Nuggets and Avalanche to get both of our teams knocked out.
Dark time. It was such a dark time.
Those are the early days of the podcast. Like, I think we were still filming on the GoPro. We're trying to figure out, like,
that was the first season after the pandemic and after the bubbles, and we were like, oh, this is kind of nice. We had a first playoffs with fans in the building. We're like, oh, fuck, this sucks. Ah, damn it.
This was not good. This did not go the way that we wanted to. Let's take a look before we get into a look at the entire NHL standings. This is brought to you by Row One Brand, one of the proud sponsors of us and the Variety Sports Network. Go to rowanbrand.com, follow them at CoolStub. You can get anything, 15% off anything in their art gallery when you use code VSP15. A lot of different cool paintings. If you're a big sports memorabilia collector, if you have a new man cave that you have to try and fill out, like myself, I may be throwing up. It's either going to be a fat head on this side or maybe something from row one brand. But if I go from row one brand, I'm using code VSP15. I'm getting 15% off. Look around at the rest of the standings. There's two teams in particular, and they're the two teams leading the Eastern Conference divisions right now. The Atlantic, the Boston Bruins, 17-2. I believe yet to lose a home game still, 11-0 at home. New Jersey may never lose a game again. They're on a 13-game.
The Devils are back. The Devils.
Yeah, it's if Doc Emmerich is somewhere like lounging, enjoying retirement, and just lapping all of this Devils hockey up because it's the exact same way that they won their cup. They're not flashy. They don't score a ton of points. They have like 4 or 5 bodies deep in front of the net, and you can never get a shot on goal. They held the Avalanche to, I think, 25 in 3 periods of hockey and won that game 3-1.
This team is getting so much production out of everybody. I mean, everybody. You can go down a list from Dougie Hamilton all the way down to Nico Hischier. This team is just
Jesper Bratt. Jesper Bratt is
unreal. I mean,
he's the breakout winger of this year, I think.
I mean, this team has done everything, and if we're being honest with you, it's not even had its number one goaltender, quote unquote, most of the year. Mackenzie Blackwood was his number one last year, and Vitek Vanacek just came in and be like, oh, "I'm the guy, I'm the guy still." And then I'm looking at statistics here. Kira Schmidt, I don't know who the fuck this guy is, but he's 3-0 too. This team just fucking doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter who they put in net. They're saying we're gonna play with cockiness, we're gonna play with swagger, and they're doing everything they want in a box of cookies. And we said it. One of the biggest offseason signings was Andre Palat, and I don't know why Johnny Gaudreau did not go to New Jersey. For being honest with you, because this team we could be talking about as a real cup favorite here, and right now we're having that conversation. But there's a real conversation to be had with this team, man. I love what this team's doing. They're playing with grit. They're playing with heart. And I hate comparing teams, but this seems a lot like that Vegas team from when they first expansion team. It's a lot of guys from a lot of different places that all came onto one team. There were a bunch of nobodies basically outside of Jack Hughes and the Nico Hischier of the world that all came together on this team and been put together and said, you know what, fuck it, let's ball. And that's exactly what this team's doing.
Yes, for Brett, I can't get enough of what he's been doing. I knew this team was going to be good. That's where I got drafted in my career in NHL. So the Devils just won a Stanley Cup with me.
The Devils.
The Devils.
The Devils. If you don't know what I'm talking about, watch Seinfeld. That's all. The Devils.
Oh, yeah.
Bet on the Devils.
They're 16-3 on the season. They have 32 points total. Boston, everybody thought they were going to limp out of the gates without Marchand, without I don't think they've had McAvoy, and they're kind of all just banged up. They get the last dance run that they've been hoping for out of Marchand, Bergeron, Krejci, bringing a guy like him back. I don't want to say it, but I do think that they're a threat, especially like the goaltending they're getting out of Linus Ullmark, who's kind of moved himself into the number one position. They still have a really good backup goaltender, and I'm blanking on the guy's name. Yeah, Swayman. But they don't need to use him right now. They're able to just ride the coattails of Linus Ullmark. And like I said, 0 defeats at home between both goaltenders. They're 6-2 on the road. They have a +40 goal differential, and in their last 10, they're 9-1-0.
I mean, unreal. Absolutely unreal. I mean, this team, like I said, Boston, it seems like they're hitting all their right strides. The question I have is like, look, they're getting young guy production, and that's exactly what they have. But there's by no means this team is not young. It really isn't. And when you get to the playoffs, it's not always the best team that wins. It's sometimes the healthiest team to win. And Boston has been banged up year after year when you get to the playoffs. And that's what worries me. Ullmark is a hell of a job. He's done a hell of a job. If there's one team that either could be a first round exit or a Stanley Cup bound team, it's Boston. There's nothing in between. This team's either going to fall apart or it's going to fucking ride the coattails of their boys and get all the way to the top. I mean, like I said, this Boston team is everything you can want, so much more. They still have some of the best veterans in the league. Yes, they're a bunch of goons, but they're goons that can play good hockey. So I hate saying it, but like you said, Boston has a real threat to make a lot of noise this year.
I can't stand the fact Marchand is one of the top wingers in the NHL, and he's a great playmaker. I don't like the way that he plays or the way – I don't like it because he's not on my team. The only issue that I've run into with Boston, last time that I saw them in a playoff series, I was seeing the Tampa Bay Lightning like skate circles. They were basically going up to the defenders, circling around him, and then Braden Point would just veer off and score an uncontested goal. Granted, that was Tuukka Rask net. That was Zdeno Chara still patrolling the blue line, and it was the bubble. So there's a lot of extenuating circumstances. But the last time I saw you in big time playoff hockey, that's the performance that I'm looking at.
The old guys were mud in the water. And also, just to add on to your stat, they're 9-1 their last 10. They've won 14 out of their last 15. They're only so I could even go further back because it is 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. They've won 17 out of their last 19. There you go. There's a full stat for you. It's unreal. These two teams are the two hottest teams in hockey. It's funny. Neither team has played each other, so it's. Well, I mean, the last time they did play each other was the preseason, so it's funny. It's like this team is. These two teams seem to be on all their wheels right on into one another, and it's about time. I would love to see these two hockey teams play each other in New Jersey and Boston because man, oh man, it's electric hockey.
Do you have faith that New Jersey's going to hold on to that lead over Carolina, or do you still think Carolina is going to win the Metro?
I do. I worry about them in the playoffs. I think there's the difference there because they're so inexperienced. I think they're on they're on one of these streaks right now where it's hard to catch up to them. And Carolina's a good ball club, don't get me wrong, but New Jersey right now is just on a heater and it doesn't look like it's going to slow down. But when it comes to the playoffs, things slow down. And that's where the adjustments come in. I like their chances winning the division. I don't like their chances getting to the conference finals, if we're being honest with you. Because, like I said, the East is dog after dog after dog.
Nobody was under 100 points last year if you made the playoffs in the East.
It's get the hell away from anyone that you want to see in the playoffs. I want to avoid this team. Oh wait, but I also want to avoid this team and that team. But definitely not those guys.
I petition to play in the Western Conference for a season, please.
Unless you're playing Toronto in the first round, you're gonna have a hell of a time. So in the playoffs, so that's all that matters.
Moving over to the Western Conference, obviously Dallas has the 2 games in hand on the Avs have 2 games in hand on Dallas, but they do hold a 2-point lead with the 3 overtime losses, 25 points. They're a surprise to me, but the way that they're winning and the way that they've played, you realize Joe Pavelski had 86 points last season? A quiet 86 points.
He's been very, very
and now Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin, they're not playing up to the level of their contract, but you're actually getting production from them. And I think Robo's the next superstar. Robo and Ottinger on this team are the 2 guys. Those are your NHL awards caliber players. I think Ottinger has a chance to possibly win the Hart if he continues to play as well as he's playing. Definitely a front runner for the Vezina. And the way that guy stopped 60 shots in their loss in Game 7 against Calgary.
It was unreal.
He left everything out on the ice. That's a kind of goalie that you want to play hard for in front, and they're doing that, but they're also they're back to playing Dallas Stars hockey.
The one thing, like I said, it's going to be the offensive production that worries about this team because, like you said the other night, the Avs beat them in overtime, Jimmy, or in the shootout, and they had 15 shots on net compared to 46. That shows me that that their offense can firepower, but it doesn't seem like they want to find the back of the net. It also shows me that their defense is rock solid. That you're going to get what you want out of Robo, but like I said, at some point the ice breaks. It really does. The ice breaks, and things get interesting. So I with this Dallas Stars team, like I said, I want to see what Ottinger gets another chance in the playoffs. I really do because, like I said, I thought they had a good chance of beating. I think it was Edmonton last year.
It was Edmonton.
A very good chance of beating Edmonton last year, and they just could not get over the hump. And right now, this is a top team in the Western Conference.
They are the top team or second team in the Western Conference. Vegas is also one of those teams that's kind of on a different level. They're 7-2-1 in their last 10. They have 31 points on the season. They're 15-4-1 in 20 games. And first off, Jack Eichel, I kind of like that little rivalry that he has with the city of Buffalo now. Are you not entertained after scoring the big goal?
Hat trick on him, by the way.
Yeah, it was a hat.
In Buffalo.
I side with Buffalo in that breakup. I get that they were treating him like garbage, but You don't have to be a jackass when
That
you do finally
franchise
get
is
let go.
bad, Jimmy. That franchise is really bad. They were hot being here, then they lost 8 in a row. I mean, Jack Eichel was living life. He gets to live in Vegas and he gets to play on a good team. Number one in the Western Conference right now. I mean, can it get much better? No.
It probably doesn't get much better for them. The second team in the Pacific is Los Angeles, and the Kraken are hanging around there too. They're 10 and
The
5,
Kraken
10,
will
5
break
and 3.
eventually.
They are. No, they're already starting to like trip up. They're starting. You can see the hamstring starting to ball up. They're gonna pull themselves. I was listening to Chicklets on the way home from wrestling practice today, and they're talking about they're sending Shane Wright down to the minors, but there's some loophole rule that they're only sending him for a certain number of days so that he still qualifies to play in the World Juniors for Team Canada. And then he'll get to play like 14 days again in the AHL. So the time that they'll have to figure out if he's going up or down is mid-January. So they're able to take it's been an ongoing conversation since the beginning of October. Shane Wright needs to play. Hextall is like, no, I'm not playing Shane Wright. And now they're like, okay, he's going down, but he's not really going down. He's not going to be with us for a month. There's
It's a lot of
if you want to be successful on the ice, don't have all of this shit going on off the ice.
You're an expansion team, for fuck's sake. What do you have to lose? You're playing some of the best hockey your franchise has ever had. Yes, it's only 2 years, but still, some of the best hockey your team has ever seen in the 2 years that you've been existing. Why would you not just give him out there? He was supposed to be the number one pick last year, and I get it. Maybe he wants to play in the World Juniors and get another shot at that because they lost last year and blah blah blah. Maybe that's his choice. If we're honest with you, but look, I think the Kraken and general management is doing him a favor. Because if Hextall wants to be a little fucking bitch and not play him, then why the hell would you keep him on the NHL roster? The dude, it's better when you're a young guy, especially, and it's better to get play time on a team. If your coach says no, you're too young, I'm not playing you, send him to the AHL because he has to get skate. It's like what we see with football and Trey Lance. Trey Lance didn't play football for fucking 3 years. Basically, he was a backup and basically took a COVID year. And then look what happened. He got injured in his second game after being a starting quarterback. It's the same thing with hockey. Yeah, a guy has to keep his laser on anything. It wears on a dude. It really does. And I think they're doing him a favor by doing this because if Hextall wants to be an idiot and not see a chance he has after the start of the season he has, then fine. Send Shane Wright to the minors, let him kill everybody and rock the world down there, and then make you look like even more an idiot. When you don't play him at the top level, then you'll be out of the job because I guarantee you they like Shane Wright more than you.
Would say that they're probably more committed to Shane Wright than Ron Hextall. They can always find a new coach. You can always they're growing on trees. And I think Mike Babcock is trying to find a new team to coach. I don't know if that's the
Babcock's such a fucking idiot too.
If we want to go full Brooklyn Nets in this bitch, we should hire Mike Babcock to Seattle and see what he does with all the young players. The only other surprise that I think out of that division is that Calgary and Edmonton are such in the middle of it. They're probably the other two teams that are going to be. Edmonton's soft, man. Did you see?
They are.
Nobody stood up. McDusty got hammered, and nobody did anything. I mean, they had like a little, I'm going to grab the first guy next to me so that it looks like I'm trying to stand up for him. There was no fight later on in that game. There was no big hit back on the guy that laid him out. And to be fair, if there's somebody in the league that shouldn't even be breathed on, it's Connor McDavid. If anybody breathes, if he was playing with Scott Parker, if he was playing with Brian McGrattan, if he was playing with Bobby Probert, you breathe, you look wrong in his general direction, you're getting beat up. That's how that works. Not
looking straight. Yeah, that's exactly how it works. I don't understand why this Oilers team thinks who they are. They brought in Jack Campbell to be the guy. They thought they shored that up. Well, your team is still physically soft. That's the thing that we talked about in the Avalanche series, right? You had Evander Kane, which look, that was one of the most gruesome injuries in the world, and I'm glad to see he's doing much better now. But they're missing him because he's the only person that was worth a shit and fighting anybody. Like he's a goon. He absolutely is a goon, and we don't like him here on the show. But he's the only person on that team that will do anything. They don't stand up for anybody. Anybody. There's no one. Absolutely not a soul on this team that stands up for anybody. And with Evander Kane out, like McDavid is going to get tossed around like a little stepchild. He really is. I mean, come on now. If you want McDavid to get one-way street out, he's gonna then you keep doing what you're doing and not building a tough team around him. Because that's what the Avs learned with Mac. Mac is unreal, but he was getting beat up, and we didn't want him to fight constantly. So we went and got the goons of the world to say, you know what, go fucking screw up on this dude for looking at Mac wrong or looking at Kale wrong. And look who that took us. And this Edmonton team has nobody do that.
No, because Draisaitl's not a guy that'll drop the mitts.
Nope.
It's good for the Avs because you got guys like Manson, you got guys like Landy who aren't the heavyweights, but they'll still throw and scrap with anyone. I think Niko would fight if presented the opportunity. It's not the way that he prefers to play, but he would. And then obviously we have the king of all heavyweights currently in the NHL. I know people like to say Ryan Reeves. I think Jacob McDermott. I think McDermott beats him. I think. Yeah. I think he beat the shit out of Delorier, and Delorier had the de facto belt last year. Like Ryan Reeves.
Revo got traded to Minnesota today, so we'll see him a few more times this year. Yeah, so we'll see him a few more times.
I would love to see that heavyweight battle.
We may get it. We very well may get it. It's a division rivalry, so we may get that.
That is true. Anything else that we wanted to touch on before we move off of the NHL? Obviously, I don't think that we got a chance to talk about Kane's injury. That was one of the scarier things, and they talked about it against Spit and Chicklets, where thank God that they had the EMTs and the medical personnel in the arena, because that's an injury. For those of you who didn't see, you could lose your arm. You could die because it's insane the amount of blood that was able to pool on the ice. It was just a second. Yeah. 2 seconds, and it's a big giant puddle, and you're trying to hold basically your arm on because you can see through the muscle, you can see through the tendons, and you're like, this is he's screaming like, help. Yeah, no, that was one of the more intense things that I remember seeing.
Kudos to their staff, and kudos to the people in the arena. I forgot where he was playing.
It was Amelie. It was in Tampa because it was Maroon. Yeah. Maroon was coming over to finish a check on somebody else, and his skate accidentally ran over. I mean, nobody really wears the forearm pads anymore, which kids, if you're playing hockey, wear your forearm pads. Make sure that there is no skin available to possibly be cut, because
at all, and you'll be just fine, because that is not an easy skate.
It's also an 8-month recovery. Like, you had the muscles, and he's going to have nerve damage when he comes back. It could really affect the rest of his career. And this is a guy who literally just, whether you think that he's good at or not,
coming off best season of his career.
He almost didn't have a career. Remember when he was talked about being suspended for life with all the gambling shit that he was going through?
Yeah, I mean, that's
so. I mean, there's a lot that he's had to overcome already, and this just adds to that list. Talk about a team that you didn't expect you were going to miss a guy like Zach Kassian, because at least Kassian would have probably gotten his ass kicked in a fight, but he would have stepped up.
At least stepped up. Yeah, this team
he's doing that in Arizona right now, and Arizona's 6-9.
And Arizona's getting their ass kicked on any way they want. So those poor guys haven't played a home game in a month because they're renovating Mullet Arena. I don't know what for, but they are.
They needed to get a semi-professional locker room set up. I think that's what they're renovating right now. That's a look at the
I do want to say one other thing regarding hockey, because there's been rumors swirling about the World Cup of hockey and the cancellation of that next year, and it all points to that being canceled and not going on next year. And it's a real damn shame because like I said, what we're seeing with the World Cup for soccer, what we're seeing with the Olympics for basketball and different sports like that are on the world stage, people love playing for their country. They do. And you don't think that Cale Makar and Nathan McKinnon want to wear the Canada maple leaf on their chest and represent the country? They absolutely do. And you're stripping them from all this. Get your head out of your ass and work this out, man. Because it has been, what has it been? Fucking 6 years, 7 years, maybe 8 years, somewhere around there, since we've last had a international tournament with NHL players in it. That's horrendous for the game. It really is. It's a damn shame. So I hope they're able to figure it out. But man, it's a damn shame, because at this point the players are the same exact boat. Why would we care what they're going to do? Because why would I get my hopes up for an international tournament when I know they're going to pull it out from underneath us? That's the exact same opinion that McKinnon did when he got asked about it. He was like, I'm worried about winning a cup, because at this point, that's out of my hands every single year. And I would love to represent my country. But at this point, it seems like it's never going to happen. So it's a damn shame.
It's a shame, but it's also like somebody has to pony up and pay these players. When they go for international competition, the way that the new CBA has worked out, and the reason why we haven't seen this international competition is because the NHL doesn't have to pay them for international competition. And who in their right mind thought that the USOC, or not the USOC, the Olympic Committee, the International Olympic Committee, I'm not going to throw shade, the IOC.
Yeah, be careful.
Did we really think that they were going to pay the players to come play in their tournament? No, they're paying the players a national pride and an experience to go live in the Olympic Village. That's what they think. And the NHL also, it takes money away from their product, which if they were smart and actually thought about it for more than 2 seconds, it doesn't really take money away from your product. You wouldn't have to send your teams in the regular season over to the middle of nowhere, Europe, to play and grow the game if you did these international tournaments. If we had the World Cup of hockey, I don't think that the Avalanche play in Finland. Mikko Rantanen would play for Finland.
Let's remind everyone, it's not the people at the USOC or the IOC either. They've wanted them. They know that the viewership for hockey at the Olympic Games, the viewership for all this is a lot less when the NHL's not in it. It's a motherfucker at the head of the NHL right now, and it has been. Like I said,
he wants to wet his beak, even though that he's got all of the money that he could ever want.
He is. I'm not going to go on a tangent here and ruin myself for future things I want to do, but it's just a damn shame. That's all I'll say.
It is a shame. That's a look at the NHL presented by Row One Brand. Remember, row1brand.com. Use promo code VSP15. You'll get 15% off anything and everything in the art gallery. Proud sponsor of the Variety Sports Network and this podcast, Far End of the Bench with Jimmy Pilato and Niko Bryant. We're transitioning now. We are American. I like to joke that I'm part Canadian now because I would rather throw on some hockey games every now and then. But we are American, so we're going to be looking at the American football. And the last 2 weeks of college football have been kind of insane. We've gone from Alabama basically having the door completely shut on them to now it being reopened. Oh my God, the top 4 currently, I would say, are the 4 best teams. If you're looking purely at record and resume, the top 4 are the top 4. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, all 11-0, all survived somewhat scary games this past weekend. It's tough. Like when you're playing nine conference games in your schedule, it is very difficult to maintain your focus all the way through. So even though it was Kentucky for Georgia, it was Maryland for Ohio State, it was Illinois for Michigan, and I believe it was Texas Tech for TCU.
Baylor 2 games ago.
Baylor, that's what it was. Baylor. 2 games ago was Texas Tech, but Baylor for TCU. It looks slightly less impressive, but it is still impressive because you're 11-0. You have 1 more game to win to be undefeated going into your conference championship, and you control your own destiny. That's the big thing.
Except for 2 teams, Jimmy. It really is. Except for 2 teams, because the conversation needs to arise. I don't know how we're at this point, but it seems as though we're going to get 2 SEC teams in the Final Four. It really does. I look, if Ohio State loses this weekend, we'll get to those games here in a minute. Ohio State loses this weekend, then they have I think they have a shot at still getting the 4th seed. And Michigan will jump to 2, and it'll be TCU, it'll be Georgia, Ohio State, which I think will be a hell of a game. But if Michigan loses, we're looking at fucking a 2-loss LSU team. Look, they got a good quarterback, but he's injured. He's out for the year, Jimmy.
He might not even.
Sorry. Hendon Hooker's out for the year. My bad.
Hendon Hooker's out for the year. But
anyway,
LSU, I don't think.
No.
LSU is a team that could win their conference and then be the first Power 5 conference champion to have a realistic shot of being left off.
Because they play Georgia, right?
They've clinched their spot. They play Georgia in the SEC championship no matter what.
So that would clear that out of the way. So the conversation will arise. Knock on wood with me, Jimmy, because you and I both want this team in the playoff, and hopefully TCU wins out. So knock on wood. I'm hoping they win out. And then the conversation comes up for that last spot. We'll just say Ohio State wins at home. It's between Michigan, USC, and Alabama. And for some reason, these fuckers are going to find a way to pick Alabama, aren't they? These fuckers will find a way. I know they will.
USC would be a conference champion. So I think USC would have the leg up, and it's Lincoln Riley.
You know how much they hate the Pac-12.
I know they hate the Pac-12. But that's why they would want to put him in, because they put him in as the 4 seed, send him down to Atlanta, and just go get your ass kicked on national television. That's awesome. We're either gonna have you get your ass kicked, or we're gonna have another Baker Mayfield versus Georgia 2.0, because I think Caleb Williams is that dude. I think that's one of the main things that we haven't been able to talk about the last couple of weeks. Caleb Williams is a dog. He's gonna
be a top pick next year. The quarterback class next year may be better than this year.
2 seasons away. He's not even this upcoming draft. He's the draft after.
Last year didn't count as a season.
He's got the extra year of eligibility with COVID plus the transfer.
No, he can go into. He can go into.
I know, but I've heard that he's not even considered in this upcoming draft class. He's not.
Well, not this year, but next year. I'm saying,
that's the one I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think if he's an opportunity, the number one pick, be the number one overall pick, I think he'll jump on that. But that's because that's what a lot of these quarterbacks do. But yeah, I would love to see a 14 playoff with 4 different conferences. That's what you and I have been saying this whole time. Give me 4 teams, different teams, and I would love for Ohio State to lose. And or Ohio State to lose, and we get maybe fucking Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and USC. That's fun for football. It is. It's 4 different schools, or not 4, but 2 different schools, and one that hasn't been there outside of last year. It's a new, refreshing playoff. And yes, Georgia would kick the shit out of every single one of those teams. Don't get me wrong. Maybe Michigan will give them a run for their money. But I mean, it'd be a lot of fun.
TCU seems to beat everyone by 3. So
that's true. They do like that cover of 2.5 for whatever reason.
Yeah. The thing, like, what makes USC not even a contender, even if they do make the college football playoff, is they don't play defense. Of all of the teams, they play zero defense. Even if you want to mention that TCU up until a couple weeks ago, let's talk about a couple weeks ago when they took on Quinn Ewers and that Texas team and absolutely suffocated their offense and kind of solidified themselves. Because remember, before that game, you and I had the argument for about 15 minutes on this show that they needed to be the 4th team in the playoff, but you didn't have faith that they would have been able to solidify themselves.
I didn't have faith in the committee, and I do at this point. I still don't. I'm still worried.
I don't know how we have a subjective selection for this shit.
I don't know.
Like, we've gone so many years, and it's still there shouldn't be subjective. It shouldn't be a computer program. I know it shouldn't be a computer program because the BCS was stupid. It shouldn't be based on polls. It shouldn't be based on some committee. It should be a 16 to 24 team playoff. First seeds get buys. Conference champions have incentive to win their conference. Oh, they do that at all other levels of football.
At all other levels of sports, Jimmy. It's the only fucking sport that has this. It's the only sport, and it is not arguably, it is the most popular collegiate sport too, and it is the only one
that's coming from a college basketball guy.
Exactly. It is the only one that has this sort of idiocy at picking who's going to be your national champion. Baseball has a fucking basically a dog fight to get to the fucking World Series or the College World Series, and then you have to go through a lot of other hurdles to win that. So volleyball has a tournament. Hockey has basically a Frozen Four, all basically similar to basketball. I mean, every sport has something except these dumb fucks who is in the biggest sport in this country. And the biggest sport in this country. It's not even up for debate. Like, football is the biggest sport in this country, and the second highest level of the sport has idiots being like, you know what, I like this team because, you know what, Dabo Swinney had these guys playing well against fucking North Carolina State, I guess. So you know what, let me pick them in the college football playoff. No, come on.
No, there is no reason that Penn State and Tennessee and Oregon fans should have nothing to root for just because they lost to 2 of the top teams in the country.
Exactly.
You're 9-2. You know what I would have given to be 9-2? Yeah. You know what I would have given to be 9-2 in college? I went 1-11 a couple of years. If I go 9-2 at the Division II level, I have a damn good shot of making the playoffs, or at least putting myself in the conference championship picture next season. And this is just like, it's a total reset every season, except for we know that, like, the teams that make the college football playoff,
State will have a chance. So.
The teams that recently make the college football playoff get the monetary benefit, and then they continue to hang around there. I think that's why we're seeing Georgia, we're seeing Ohio State, now we're seeing Michigan have their second year of success. if TCU does get there, is going to do great things for that TCU program.
I agree. I absolutely agree. I will say this. I can say this with a fact. With a fact, I know this as a fact. This would happen if the college football kept with this 4-game playoff. We would never see a college football playoff without one of Georgia, Alabama, or Ohio State or Clemson in it. One of those 4 teams will always be in it as long as this thing is, because of the fucking bias of their programs. Because of half of those Paul Feinbaums out there live in Georgia, love going to the Masters and love watching college football, but all we know is I don't know who the fuck plays on the West Coast because it's midnight over here and I'm going to bed. So fuck them guys. Who cares about the Oregons of the world? Who cares about USC? Because those guys play at 12 o'clock at night on the East Coast. Like, come on, man. Like there's no transparency. There's no willingness to grow the sports. Willingness, none. This 12-team playoff is needed, and it's needed now. Because I cannot stand watching the same 4 fucking teams every year, Jimmy. I'd rather watch fucking college basketball at that time of the year than watch 2 teams that I know one team's probably going to kick the shit out of the other one, and I'll turn it off by halftime, and I'll watch something else. I'll go watch a hockey game, or I'll go watch a Frozen Four or a college basketball game instead of watching the second half of these fucking teams play like this because there's no transparency. It's horrendous. It is. It is why there's a reason why college March Madness is one of the most televised and one of the most hard-hitting tournaments that everyone pays attention to, that all the vendors want to go to, that everyone knows. You know what? If I attach myself to CBS, if I attach myself to March Madness, my brain is going to be put out there constantly because the likes of fucking St. Peter's is going to run to a Sweet 16 as a 15 seed and shock the world, and Dougie McBuckets is going to be born. Instead, you know what? Let's watch whoever Nick Saban decided to pull out of the bag this time and generate in a machine, and let's see how we're doing again this year, because that's so much fun to watch every single year.
We tried to do, we did a color cast for one of the national championship games, Alabama versus Ohio State. That was supposed to be one of the best games of the year, and it wasn't. It was a blowout by halftime. Those are the worst games.
We were cheering for punts, Jimmy, for a buddy to punt. That's how bad that was. Let's not forget about that. These fuckers, come on, get a damn stop. I want my boy to punt. It's literally what we're rooting for a whole half of football.
When Ohio State had a linebacker trying to cover Devontae Smith in the first quarter, I was like, oh shit, it's over.
It's over. It's done.
That's over and done with.
Thanks for coming out.
Other thing that I wanted to touch on before we start talking about some of these matchups, the Tennessee situation with Hendon Hooker, that's a terrible thing to see. That's tough because that guy, that's his 6th year in college. He used all of the extra eligibility that he got. He transferred. He finally, I think he was probably considered a 5th to 7th round draft pick last year. If he's healthy, he probably could have been in that like late first, early second round. With the offense that they've been having on the season, 3,100 yards passing, 27 touchdowns. He's also been able to run a lot of touchdowns in, and losing him in the way that they did, and then also losing the game the way that they did. The SEC, for one of the few times that we've been able to talk about it, the SEC is beating the shit out of themselves just like the Pac-12 does, because all Tennessee had to do was hold serve, stand pat, win out the rest of your games, and you're that next SEC team in. And you and I would have probably been okay with that, because then it would have been
so happy.
Georgia, Michigan.
Georgia.
I'm saying that Michigan's winning this weekend. So it would have been Georgia, Michigan, TCU, and Tennessee.
Maybe USC, yeah.
And then you get the rematch between Georgia and Tennessee. So you get to see Tennessee in and out real quick, because there's no way they're beating Georgia. And then TCU beats Michigan, and then it's Georgia TCU national championship. That's what I was looking for.
TCU beating Michigan. Oh, that's a hot take. We're already firing off Final Four picks. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Interesting.
Might as well, because then I'm gonna look like I do when we're talking about the NHL, and I said that the Ducks were gonna be the 7th seed in the West.
That's fair. No, like I said, it's much needed what this playoff will do. And this weekend, like I said, this weekend it'll play itself out, Jimmy, where we're gonna have a conversation about Bama. I just know we will. This weekend we'll do something, because
hopefully hopefully Auburn does what they need to do.
Auburn, do one for us, buddy. Do one for us, and help us all out. And I want to touch on Hendon Hooker one more thing. It's a Matt Corral situation. Matt Corral was a first-round pick. He was arguably possibly the first quarterback taken last year, and the dude didn't get drafted until fifth round. And he's the fourth quarterback on a team that's one of the worst in the league. So this poor Hendon Hooker, man, like I said, dude would have been probably a first-round pick and would have had a good chance at getting a position somewhere. But, man, it's a tough blow because the guy's not playing until halfway through next year, if at all, in the NFL.
It was a tough situation, and it's in a game that everybody was just expecting them to go out and hammer South Carolina. They didn't.
It's situations like that you understand why people will take bowl games off when you're not a really good player, and that's what sucks about college football.
Ohio State's not getting Jackson Smith and Jigba back. Did you see that? He's decided to sit out for the rest of the year until the NFL, and that's going to affect them. Let's talk about it, and this will be presented by SeatGeek. So that's another one of our sponsors here at the Variety Sports Network. Download the SeatGeek app, create an account.
I use the SeatGeek app today for the Avs game. So we love use. Well, I wasn't a first time user, but I did. So
what was the price that you paid, and what would you have paid if you were able to use the code?
So it was $70, and what's the percentage?
It's $20 off.
So $50 for a good game and good seats. Yes, it's nosebleeds, but because it's the Avs, the Stanley Cup champions. $50 for a day before Thanksgiving, where everybody's hanging out. Ball Arena's rocking. You get to see the boys playing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. $50 for a hockey game. Take that every day of the week.
It's probably going to be it's a good bet. So download the SeatGeek app, use promo code VSN when you make your first purchase. You'll get $20 off. It's not just sports. You can go to concerts, comedy shows, anything that they're selling tickets for. It's a great way to do that. And then you also
if you're a guitar, actually, I don't know about that. If you're a guitar, you can try it. Actually, probably not.
I bet you they don't use the Game Time app in Qatar.
I don't think they do.
They probably have some sort of sacrilege against the Game Time app. We're going to get to the World Cup. So if you're here for soccer, deal with an extra little bit of football. And it is football, by the way. Deal with a little extra bit of football. SeatGeek game of the week, obviously.
I'll have something on that, what you just said, when we get to soccer. So don't worry.
Yeah.
I'll touch on that subject too.
Peyton Manning said in the commercial, he looked it up in the dictionary, soccer is a round ball, football is an oval-shaped ball. It's different. Ohio State, Michigan, it's the game to decide who's probably going to win the Big Ten, because I think Purdue is the one that's coming out of the Big Ten West for the championship game.
Is it Purdue? I thought it was Wisconsin, maybe, or it might be Iowa. Either way,
could be Iowa. I think it's between Purdue or Iowa.
Iowa can't muster more than 10 points a game. So yeah, it's the winner of this game is the winner of the Big Ten.
So you get C.J. Stroud and Marvin Harrison Jr. versus J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum. Blake Corum's a little bit banged up. Donovan Edwards, the other running back from Michigan, has been banged up. And Michigan is built on their running game. That is their bread and butter. It's actually stunted their growth of their quarterback recently. Like J.J. McCarthy isn't as good as what we were necessarily anticipating him being, because he hasn't had to do much. They're just able to beat people up and bully people. They have every ability to do that this weekend. I would need to. It doesn't look like there's necessarily any weather that's predicted for Columbus. It's the first time that they're playing in Columbus since I think the 2019 game against Michigan. So these fans have been waiting for it, and they've been seething over that win. All they wanted was to make sure that Harbaugh never beat the Buckeyes, and he got it done for the first time last season. So there's a lot that's riding on this game. It's a lot that's riding on it every year. You're basically penciled in for a pregame brawl between the Buckeyes and the Wolverines. I'm just looking forward to watching it and having it be a good game. I definitely lean towards Michigan in the rivalry just because I can't stand Ohio State, can't stomach them. But Michigan, to me, I just want it to be a good game. I want it to be same thing that we saw last year.
I agree. I want a good game and I want a dog's game, but there's something that there's no weather forecast, but there's a storm of red that will be rolling through that Buckeye Stadium. And look, Michigan won at home last year. It's a little bit differently when it's a rivalry game in the horseshoe. It's a lot different. They're like I said, I don't know if McCarthy is ready for that. Because if there's one thing Ohio State's going to do is they're going to fucking pound the box and say, McCarthy, come beat us under the bright lights. That's exactly what they're going to try to do. Because Ohio State, they don't have as good of a defense as they've had in the past, but they still have the dogs up there. And they're just going to pound the box up and say, beat us by a pass. Please try. Because you're not going to be able to. And right now, look, I don't know where this spread's at right now. But I'm telling you right now, I'm riding the fuck out of Ohio State.
7.5. I think it's Michigan by 7.5.
Michigan by 7.5?
That's what I think I saw. Give me a second.
No
I just
fucking
had it
shot. I'm
7.5 is the number.
I would be very surprised if it was Michigan 7.5.
Oh, it's Ohio State 7.5.
Yeah, that was going to say. There's no if it was Michigan 7.5, I would have jumped on that shit so quickly. Oh my god, you almost made me bet $300 on one game and do that right there.
Game of the
year. Yeah, I was gonna say there's no shot that was a 7.5 for Michigan spread in the horseshoe. So yeah, I may take the spread there. I really might because I think Ohio State has something to prove. I think they're pissed off. They really are. In a year that they thought they had a chance last year to knock off the Georgias and the Alabamas of the world, they got put to the side. They really did. And Michigan got put in front of the country and said they got their ass kicked too by Georgia. And I think Ohio State took that personally. It will come out and prove a reason why they're the bigger brother in this situation.
I think that you're on a good track, but I can't predict.
I know you can't. I know you can't. It makes sense. It does.
Yeah. I think we're good too. Honestly, I'm gonna save you having to talk about the Broncos from last week. I'll save talking about the Bengals. Well, let's just get into because we're doing a lot of picks this week. We're making up for the fact that we had a bye week last week, so we have all of the primetime games plus all of the Thanksgiving games that we're doing, plus our two teams. Your matchup is just, I don't even know. Shouldn't be on TV.
It's not going to be on my TV. Don't worry. It won't be on mine.
Be forced to watch that. I had to split my game last week. It was Bengals Steelers. I had to split my game with the Bronco game last week at my house because my dad wanted to see, Hackett's not calling plays. Let's see what goes down there. Same thing. Same exact thing. No difference.
It's just so fun losing the Raiders twice in a year. I just love it so much. I just really do. I enjoy it.
When you get around to listening to Talking the Gridiron, Darren was very excited.
I really fucking enjoy it.
So we are going to get into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 games to pick in this week's pick'em. Buffalo at Detroit, New York Giants at the Cowboys, New England at Minnesota. Those are your Thanksgiving games. Cincinnati at Tennessee, Denver at Carolina, Green Bay at Philly is Sunday Night Football, and then Pittsburgh at Indianapolis is Monday Night Football. So we're going to get to see Jeff Saturday in a primetime spot against TJ Watt, and there's a lot that is going to get on. We haven't talked about the Jeff Saturday thing. So before we start talking about the picks, what did you think of just the reaction based off of his hiring? Because I don't know if you saw Bill Cowher.
I know he went off on him. Look, we touched on this slightly. It was fresh news coming out, but all I've realized after this 2 weeks of seeing everything that's happened with this is realize that coaches everywhere want him to fail because everyone in the world think, "Oh, I'm a player. I can fucking coach. I can do this shit. You're not that special. I can do it." That's literally all that the conversation has always been. Peyton that way, Tom Brady that way. It's like, "Oh, it's not Bill. It's me." And Jeff Saturday has proven every coach that way wrong. He's telling, it really is the players. Because all you do is say 2 words into a microphone and say, "Yep, I want this play at that time." And the players go out and do everything. Because in reality, it really is the guys on the field that win you the football games. The coaches can lose you the game, but they're sure as hell not going to win you the game. And right now, Jeff Saturday is doing exactly what he should be doing. Not making the team lose the game. He's just being smart with how he manages it, and how he manages the coaching staff, and how they're coaching and everything. And it's changed this team around. It really has. And Bill Cowher and the other coaches in the world are just salty because if Big Ben Roethlisberger really wanted to be a head coach over Bill Cowher, or the Mike Tomlins of the world and get a head coaching job in Pittsburgh, he absolutely would take that.
I think that he would take that too. And it's kind of funny with the whole Peyton Manning Jeff Saturday thing, the clip, the infamous "quit calling the plays, Jeff. Quit calling the plays." And then also Peyton Manning coming out in a press conference saying that he needs to block better. That was they had a special relationship, that quarterback.
Really did,
and center. Let's get into it. First game, starting our Thanksgiving morning off, we have the surging Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills, who got a week-long sleepover and now move their stuff from the home locker room across to the away locker room. They get to play in the same spot. So
I'll say it. I like this Detroit team, Jimmy. I'll say it. I'll be the one to say it.
Do you like them to win, or do you like them to
No, I don't
cover?
like them to win. I'm not that dumb, but they're frisky.
They're
frisky.
a 9.5 dog right now.
They are very frisky. They're very, very frisky. And what Buffalo has shown the last couple weeks makes me hesitant, being like, oh, maybe I do want to hit 9.5. It really does. The conversation arises. It does.
Don't do it.
I'm not gonna do it. I'm not doing it. I'm not that dumb. I'm not
because you're gonna take the 9.5, and then Josh Allen's gonna throw 4 touchdowns.
4 touchdowns to Gabe Davis, who I didn't start in probably fantasy football. Then I'll be really fucking eating my wounds. So yeah, no, Buffalo will win this game. I'm not hesitating on that. But yeah, man, this Lions team, they're frisky, man. They're a fun team. They are a fun team. They found a head coach that we can say all we want about Dan Campbell and how fucking cringy he can be. But the dude has the boys playing. He is and this is a high regard in comparing him to this guy. But he's Mike Vrabel-esque. Vrabel is not the best X's and O's guys, but every single week the Titans will show up. He's good. He's good defense.
He bended time around Bill Belichick.
He did. I will say that, but I'm not by any means saying that he's the next Bill Parcells or whatever. But this guy is going to get his players playing every week, and you'll know that you face the Lions every week. And no one has been able to say that since Calvin Johnson suited up for this team, Jimmy. It has been 10 years since this team. Anyone could say, fuck, man, we played the Lions this week. That really banged us up bad. This team is playing hard, and they're playing good football. And like I said, Jared Goff isn't the problem right now. They're lining themselves up for a fucking pass rusher to line up across from Aiden Hutchinson or another middle linebacker that they can snag from Georgia, that they're just going to put in the middle of their defense and be like, you know what, let's ball, boys, and see where we're at. Like I said, this Lions team, they're fun, man. They're still going to get their ass kicked. I would take the spread, but I'm not an idiot. I'm not doing that ever again. So give me the Bills.
I'm taking the Bills because Josh Allen likes to put on a show on Thanksgiving. The last couple times that he's played very well. New York at Dallas. I think that we might be on opposite pages here. I think that we're going to pick different.
Did you see what Dallas did last week? We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that other team here at the last game of Thanksgiving. But fuck, man, getting Zeke back, they are frisky, Jimbo. They're frisky. They're frisky.
That big fat dumb guy is going to be distracted by all the turkey and stuffing that he wants, and he's not going to be calling plays.
Dable ain't that ain't
not Dable. I'm talking about Mike McCarthy.
I know who you're talking about. I'm saying Dable ain't going to be shying away from turkey either on Thursday night. So
yeah, but he's a fan. He'll eat it while he calls plays. He'll have like the turkey leg.
Turkey leg. And call.
Here's what we're going to do. Blitz everyone. Blitz the house.
I'm sorry. Give me the Cowboys. I have to.
I'll take the Giants.
I'm sorry. What the Giants showed me last week, it showed me that they're a little fraudulent because Daniel Jones still doesn't have anyone to throw to, and they're just pounding the box. And look, the Cowboys defense is still one of the best in football. And this team, if anything, is going to make Daniel Jones try to beat him with his arm. And they don't have a soul to throw to. They really don't. Can you name one Giants receiver that will play this weekend? No, I can't. Kadarius Toney's gone. Sterling Shepard's injured.
I was about to say him.
Evan Ingram gone. I can't name a single receiver. I really can't. No. It's one guy. It's a two-man offense, Jimmy. This team will run the fucking read option all the way down the field and hope for the best because there isn't a soul Daniel Jones is going to throw the ball to. So
I trust Vanilla Vic more than I trust Mike McCarthy.
That's fair. That's fair. But I'm just going to give one up on you, and I'm going to pick the Cowboys.
You think you're going to get one up on me? I still have to go through the records from last week. I'll put out an update and see who's winning because it was damn close. I was only ahead by a game. So we're split on that one. Then we have New England going to Minnesota. And it's a primetime game. So we're going to get primetime Kirk Cousins. That's one thing. But also, there's no way – The Patriots aren't good enough to beat the Vikings by 37 points. There's no way that you can go out there and lay 2 eggs in a row like that. I highly doubt as a professional athlete.
You can't, right? How bad was that? I didn't even watch the game, if I'm being honest with you. Because that was the same time as the as the Bronx
was,
game.
yeah.
So I wasn't even paying attention to the game. I looked at my phone. I was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Did you
What
see
the hell?
Zadarius Smith? If you saw Zadarius Smith's
Say that 10 times fast.
video before the game, you would have known that that game was going to go exactly that way.
What
It's a
did he
great
say?
feeling. It's a great feeling. I feel 9-1 today.
Oh God. Oh, man. I'm not dumb. I'm not picking the Patriots because they beat a team last week that that are idiots in themselves. And look, those idiots my team lost to already this year.
Hey, Zach Wilson's not the issue, okay?
It's Mike White season, and you love Mike White over there. I know you do. So they're starting Mike White back again this week, and the Patriots just beat a bad team, and that bad team has a chance to make the playoffs. And the Patriots right now are in a playoff position at their record. They're right now at the 7th seed, I think, or maybe the 8th seed, whatever the hell it is. So no, I'm going to Vikings. It worries me. Primetime Kirk. It really worries me because I think that it may turn out bad because it was technically a primetime game last week. A lot of eyes were on that game. It was quote unquote the game of the week.
Do you really think that's what affects it? I think what affects it is that when he plays a good defense, he's just exposed as like a mid-level guy. I don't necessarily think it's the time of the game.
Also, the Vikings' record against bad quarterbacks is also very nice to think about. And the amount of backup quarterbacks they've beaten this year, so that also helps. So I don't care either way. I'm still riding the Vikings against the Patriots because the Patriots team. I saw a team that won a game on a fucking punt return touchdown, and that's the only touchdown they scored in the game. So yeah, give me the Vikings. I'm riding that highly. They will not do this 2 weeks in a row. I'm saying they will not.
I think it's a safe bet. Now
Two
I
and a
think
half?
this.
Fuck yeah! I'm hammering the fuck out of that on Thursday night. I'll tell you that. I am hammering that.
We're getting into the first games on Sunday. I think this one is going to be another split game because it's difficult.
You're picking the other team, Jimmy.
I'm picking my team. I'm picking
we're going your team.
Your team. No, yeah, we're starting. Because I have my ESPN preferences set. That's just the first game that I saw, so I put it in that order. Cincinnati at Tennessee. Cincinnati on a 3-game win streak, I believe, 3 or 2-game win streak, one of the two. They're getting Jamar Chase back this week, hopefully. That's what things are trending like. Even if they don't get him back, you cannot tell me that T. Higgins isn't going to have a big day against this Tennessee defense. And remember what the Bengals defense did to Ryan Tannehill last year in the playoffs. The very first play, he was baited into an interception. The very first play in overtime, he was baited into an interception.
It's true. You're not wrong, Jimmy. But the last time that they also played this team, Joe Burrow sat on his back the whole game.
This is also true. Still won. And Joe Mixon still scored like 2 touchdowns. Joe Mixon's not going to be there. But hey, who would have saw that 30-point fantasy game from Samaje Perine coming? Our bench did. Our fucking bench did. Damn it. It sucks so bad.
That's one you're like, fuck. In no world would I have started him.
And he's never going to do that again.
He's not going to do that again. It's not like I'm going to throw him back in and be like, fuck, maybe he can do it twice.
Go get me 30 again, Samaj. Go do it.
The one thing that scares you, that just should scare you, is the Bengals have struggled with teams that have ran the ball well. Last week against Najee Harris ran all over this defense. He ran the ball hard against.
It's only the first half. That's the crazy thing.
It really is. And
the first half defense is awful. The second half defense is stout.
It works better, but there's one thing that will just consistently just chop wood. It's the Titans, and I'll just be the different one here because I don't think there's going to be very many different games here that we pick differently. So I'm going to go in the different here and go Tennessee in this one because I think that right now this running game, Derrick Henry is getting it going, and I think this defense is slowly getting to where it needs to be a good team in the AFC. I think it's not where it needs to be a contender, but it's slowly getting there. And if there's one thing that Vrabel loves more than anything, it's a rematch against a team that kicked you out of the playoffs last year. So, and I think there'd be a little bit more chip on his shoulder, and I think the Titans have a little bit more to play. I'll say the Bengals have more to play for. Actually, I think they do have more to play for because if you go 6-5 in this division with the Ravens and what they've been doing, you're in trouble. So I think the Bengals have more to play with, but I think the Titans' urgency is a little bit more needed.
The Titans want to prove that they're a team that's a contender. They win this game because they're in the opposite boat of the Bengals. The Bengals need to start winning their division games. The Titans need to start winning games outside of their shitty division.
Absolutely.
So if this is a game that they take a step forward, I guess I'll have to eat my words, and maybe this isn't going to be a repeat season for the Bengals, or they're going to be further down as a wild card instead of winning their division. They play the Titans, then I think they have.
Schedule's not going to be easier for you.
No, in 2 weeks we play the Chiefs, so we're getting like 3 revenge games in the span of 3 weeks. It's going to be difficult. Maybe we sprinkle the Ravens in there. Speaking of the Ravens, they only beat the team that your team is playing this week by 10 points. They were held to 13 points by the Carolina Panthers. So I don't want to hear any more of this talk about, Jimmy, you're too hard on Lamar Jackson. Jimmy, he's a quarterback. Trust me, he ain't a quarterback. If he's a quarterback, he puts up more than 13 points on this Carolina Panthers team. This is a JV team. The Bengals scored 40 plus in the first half against this same Carolina Panthers defense.
Jimmy, and this team is now playing Sam Darnold, their 4th quarterback this year.
And that's why I'm picking the Carolina Panthers to beat the Broncos.
I expect nothing less. But this is a game this fucking team just wins for no reason. Fucking no reason other than being that the Broncos will win this game. There's no rhyme or reason. This team, the Panthers will be held under 16 points. That's the only reason why this team will win. It's the only reason why this team will win, because if there's one team that the Broncos defense could probably hold under 16 points, is these fuckers. So I'm banking on this defense holding this team to single-digit points and somehow winning a game this year. Because, well, one, I don't know who's going to play running back for us this week, because Latavius Murray and Marlon Mack are only 2 running backs on the roster. Because Chase Edmonds, the guy he was traded for, is out for 3 weeks, and Melvin Gordon's bitch ass is fucking gone on a Bronco out of town. Thank God. So I think this is a game we win.
You think this is a game you win?
I think it is.
I see this as a game that just completes the terrible first year of Russell Wilson.
There's not many wins left on the board for this team, and I think this is one of them. I really do. There's no rhyme or reason to it. Look, I was at that game, and there's nothing. Like I said, there's nothing I hate more than losing to the Raiders. It really is. I don't care if we went fucking 2-15. It is now. As long as we beat the Raiders, it's all that matters. And this team lost to that bum ass team twice, and fucking
a team that can't fire their head coach because they don't have enough money to
exactly. I look. I will touch on that game slightly. Kubiak did a hell of a job the first half. The offense looked reasonable. He scored 10 points. And with that trajectory, you would score 20 points. And if you scored 20 points from regulation, you would be 9-1, right? It's funny. Score 20 points from regulation, and your team only has 1 loss on the season. It's crazy how funny that works. It really is. And look, I think this team is fucking just knows how to lose. It's a bunch of losers. That's all I'll say. I'll keep it a buck. This team's a bunch of losers. They don't know how to fucking win. And you know what this is? I saw this innuendo, and this is the perfect innuendo. It's, when you ask for Christmas, you're like, hey mom, can I get some AirPods? I really need some good music to listen to, and I really like having my AirPods in while I work out and everything. And then Christmas comes, and your mom buys you the Walmart version, and they fucking they squeak in your ear every other 3 seconds, and that's the team with Russell Wilson. I paid $250 whatever million for fucking AirPods, and I got fucking Walmart. Give me something better. And Walmart, no pun intended, but pun intended. So give me the goddamn AirPods this week, please. And give me the Broncos winning. I don't know why, but do it, please. God, I hate this team so much. I hate them so much. I just cannot stand watching this team every Sunday. I really can't, Jimmy. I can't. I'm going to tell you right now, there's a good chance I watch the Bears versus fucking Jets than this team at 11 o'clock. Because fuck this team.
Oh, they're at 11 o'clock again? Oh, yeah, I guess they're on the East Coast. Damn it, I'm going to have to split the TV again. Shit.
Fuck this, man. Fuck, man. Don't even split the TV. Do your family a justice. Be like, you know what? For Thanksgiving, guys, I'm going to do you all a service and not watch this bum-ass team and watch these fucking scrubs. Look, when I say scrubs, I say every person on that team outside of one person. That's Patrick Surtain. Everyone else can fucking kick rocks because they all fucking suck. So besides that, yeah, this group of bums that'll be on my goddamn TV, I'm gonna be watching something else. I'll probably watch the Maui Invitational for college basketball instead, or watch some World Cup game because I'm pretty sure there's an 11 o'clock game on Sunday. So I'll watch the World Cup instead of this team because fuck that.
Oh boy. Well.
Yeah, I'm done watching this team.
I'm picking
Jimmy, the Raiders fucking broke me. They broke me. They did.
I assumed that they would.
They broke me, and I'm fucking done with this team. I am. There's the worst football team I've ever seen assembled on the Denver Broncos. I watched Kyle Orton, fucking Josh McDaniels coach and play the football in this team. I watched fucking Tim Tebow. I watched Trevor Siemian. I watched Paxton Lynch, and now I'm watching a Pro Bowl. I'm watching a Pro Bowl guy that should be a Hall of Famer. Do fucking jack shit. So this is fun. I'm having fun, Jimmy. Football's fun. It's fun, but
you
fun.
sound like you're having a great time. You're enjoying the season thoroughly.
I'm still fucking picking my team to win because I still have that dumb fucking idea that my team can fucking turn it around. I hate being a Broncos fan so much. I really do. I deserve so much better. But there's no backing out of this now.
When we started this show 2 years ago, I would not have thought that you would be the one that's making. I've made that speech on this show before. I did not think that you would have to make that speech.
To do this.
Yeah.
I hate being a Broncos fan so much. It sucks. It's getting kicked in the cock every other 2 seconds. It's every other day. It's like, fuck. It's the Joker meme. Another Sunday, let me put on my Broncos clown face and just paint this on my face and hope for the best again. Go Broncos, I guess.
Go Broncos. Let's ride. Broncos country. Let's ride.
I don't ever want to hear those 2 words out of that motherfucker's mouth.
Nico, when you drive downtown, you see where the direction that we have to go on the interstate, that's what you see as you come around the corner. It's in Power Field, and it just says Broncos country. Let's ride.
I choose to look to the right, Jimmy, and look at the beautiful
ironic. It's the most ironic landscape drop that you'd ever like. That would be if you're making a television show about pissed off sports fans. That would be what you'd write in. And they come around the corner, they see the football stadium, Broncos country. Let's ride.
This motherfucker better not say it again. Better find a new fucking catchphrase next year. I don't care how long it takes you. Find something else. I don't care. Find something
Broncos
else.
country. It's spicy. Let's go.
God.
Sunday Night Football. Green Bay at Philadelphia. A tough loss for the Eagles 2 weeks ago, and then a tough win against a team. I'm only going to chalk that score up to like the interim coach bump. I think that Jeff Saturday really has the Colts playing a lot better. And no shit, Matt Ryan is a better quarterback than Sam Ehlinger. You could have put Stevie Wonder out there in practice, and he would have been able to tell, oh, yeah, we should start this Matt Ryan guy over Sam Ehlinger. Sam Ehlinger wasn't good in college. Couldn't win games in college. Why is he going to win games in the NFL? Stupid ass.
Yeah, it's crazy how that works, huh? It's crazy. I think this Packers team is dead, though. I still think they're dead.
I think that they're dead now. I tried to give them the benefit of the doubt last week, and yeah, it's
Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he should have come to the Broncos because maybe it would have worked out for the Packers better. They may have had Jordan Love play better, and maybe my dumbass wouldn't be hearing "Let's Ride." Instead, I'd be smoking ayahuasca while recording.
I was going to say it'd
probably be a little bit more fun.
He'd probably be camped out at Plumber's Mushroom Factory, just like, oh, what's this one do? And what's this one do? It's like, Aaron, those aren't candies. You're not supposed to eat them all at once.
And maybe Hackett might have looked like an actual coach with a guy that would have made him look good. All right. Look, the Eagles barely squeaked out a win last week. They really did. They barely squeaked out a win last week, and they did it because Sirianni hates the Colts for what they did to Frank Reich for no fucking reason. I don't know.
Makes no sense.
He sucked. I don't know why you're mad at them for doing what he did him wrong. Pretty sure he did him a favor. Said, fuck you. Go ahead, leave. You don't want to be here. We don't want you here. So let him leave. They did him a favor. And this Packers team is dead. So the Eagles, and it's flying colors. Fly, Eagles, fly. Like I said, the Eagles are the best team in the NFC right now. They absolutely are, because the fraudulent Vikings are not the best team in the
They are not,
NFC.
no.
And the only team I can think of that would be worth a shit other than them would be the 49ers after what they did on Monday Night Football. So right now it's the Eagles, the conference to lose. And so give me the Eagles at home. It's a landslide. 6.5. That's a tough spread to take, but I probably will.
Jason Kelsey also just released behind the scenes footage of their
Oh
Christmas
my God.
album.
Did you Jordan Mailata? That is the most beautiful voice I've ever seen in my life.
I didn't hear
Stop
him.
playing football.
I was hearing Kelsey do oh, God damn it. I can't even think of what song he was doing. Probably Walking in Winter Wonderland or something like that. But it was
Jordan Mailata. Look it up. It is Fergie. It is good.
your voice is like a mixture of Fergie and Jesus.
I know, I was dying laughing. I was like, it's beautiful. It really is beautiful. And yeah, they're gonna be. It's a Sunday Night Football game, and they always do that for Sunday Night Football games. Kelsey's gonna have a stick of turkey leg, stick of mutton, and just eating it on the way out of the stadium, and be like, "Fuck you, Green Bay."
Pull his belly out. Best center in the NFL. My favorite center.
I agree. I'm not disagreeing.
Difficult for me to say. My favorite center that I've ever watched play. I kind of watched Tom Nalen play. I kind of watched him. I liked Nick Mangold. I liked Jeff Saturday. But Jason Kelsey, he's my body type too. He's 40 pounds lighter than everybody that he's blocking, and he's still doing it at a very high level. And he's one of the best podcasters in the world right now.
I love that show. I really do. It's such a funny show. I should hate
his reaction to their loss was like, that's everybody. Fuck. Oh, okay. But then also too, Kelsey tried to bring up like the refs. Travis tried to bring up the refs screwed you, and he goes, "No, it was not a one-play situation. The way that we played all the way through that game is the reason that we lost." So he's mature.
A smart man.
He's mature. The Philly fans are not.
Not so much.
They belong in my 7th grade social studies class. I'll teach you some geography. We'll actually learn how to speak English, and we don't have to boo. I'm convinced that they only boo because that's like the longest word that collectively Philly knows as a community. It's just B-O-O-O-O. That's all they can do.
That's the only thing they know. They know how to boo Ben Simmons, and that's about it. But man, I guess they love their football now because baseball's done. Soccer they lost.
Hockey's out.
They're already done, and they have an absolute goon behind the bench. I mean, tough for Philly, ain't it? Real tough.
It's not fun. It ain't fun. Joel Embiid. Joel. I'm gonna give him Joel until he starts becoming Joel again. He's Joel right now.
Little puff has not played basketball. It's crazy. It's crazy. This your MVP, guys. This is the guy that you wanted to be the MVP. Oh yeah, it's so unfortunate.
That fat Serbian guy continues to just rack up game after game after game.
Passes with all-time triple doubles. About to pass Russell Westbrook. I mean, oh man, I guess Embiid is sending cool tweets out, so he's got that going for him.
He does have a good social media presence. It's easier because probably has more of a grasp of English, I guess, than Jokic.
You're not wrong.
Last game, Monday Night Football, Pittsburgh at Indianapolis. We all know who I'm picking or who I'm not picking, as a matter of fact. Plus, it's Jeff Saturday now, so it's easy. Colts win by 100 and embarrass small hand Kenny Pickett.
I'm going to go Steelers because I think this is one that they get. I do. I think I know. You give me a stink eye all you want, but I think it's the one they get. Tomlin wins games that he's not supposed to. This is a game he's not supposed to win. That no one really cares about because on a Monday Night Football game, and it's two teams that are not in the playoffs. So I think he gets the win here. I really do. I think it's a Tomlin-led win. This is not a Kenny Pickett-led win. This is a T.J. Watt and Mike Tomlin-led win. And I think Matt Ryan, all those moons that he was licking against the Broncos with getting pass rushed and getting hit every other 2 seconds. Yeah, wait till TJ Watt does that to you. That's a lot worse. So give me the Steelers.
Does it? I mean, it makes sense. I just can't pick them because they're my division rival.
I understand. I would have done.
If I would have sat here and picked the Raiders last week, you would have given me. Yeah, you would have given me the same stink eye.
It's the same exact thing. I had no hate for you. I knew exactly. I would have done the exact same thing.
Let's talk about this soccer tournament that's going on. Right, soccer.
My favorite football that's going on right now because I don't want to watch the other one. So let me pull up what's been happening in the World Cup and get that up for you.
Is there anybody that's 2-0? No.
No one's played 2 games yet.
Oh, that's true.
It
Okay,
starts
I'm
on
looking at different. Yeah.
it starts on Thursdays. The first game that people start playing 2 games.
All I'm gonna say, watch out for the Brit. No, let's watch out for those Spaniards. +7 goal differential. They're scoring goals at an amazing clip.
They scored 7 goals. It was kind of crazy. So let's talk about this United States team for a second. First of all, they have the game against England on Friday, and I will make a proclamation that if the United States does not at least draw England, I will call soccer football. I will give it its kudos. But if you little chippies over there in England lose to us, you bet your ass it's called soccer now, and you're going to like it. That's exactly what's going to happen. On Friday, the Yankees are coming home, and then we're kicking their ass. We're riding all those coattails. It is a national holiday week for the United States, and the United States gets up for its team, and we are going to take them damn English Brits down. And it's coming home, baby. It's not coming home to England. It's coming home here in the United States because it's never been here, but it's coming home. So bringing the United States up against England. So there's that thing on Friday. There's my proclamation to you all. So now, the first game against the Welsh. First of all, Gareth Bale's a stud. The dude plays for LAFC. He played for Real Madrid when they were the premier club in Europe. And the dude's an animal. But this United States team had no business losing this game. Domination in the first half. Great pass by Chris Pulisic to get Timmy Weah open on the first touch there to get the first goal of the tournament for the team. And then their second half, you played like you were trying to lose the game. You weren't trying to win. You played like you were trying to lose this game. This team was hesitant. The team was very, very, very loose and not ready to roll and try to punch the other team in the mouth. And look, now you're in a situation where you have to kick the shit out of Iran. You have to beat Iran, and you have to at least tie England because you set yourself up because Wales is probably going to beat Iran. And you got to hope that England can beat Wales. But you got to at least get a point out of the contest with England so you can move on to the knockout stages because you set yourself up badly. You really did. It was a terrible penalty by Walker Zimmerman in the box that just gave them a goal. Gareth Bale was no shot. He was missing that goal on a PK. Terrible contestation by Walker Zimmerman in the box and a play that should never happen when you're up by 1 goal. So I'm disappointed in the first match, and I hate tying. It's like kissing your sister. No one ever wants to do it. It's fucking horrendous. But you have to do that in this world of soccer. Yep, I'm gonna say it's soccer because we're winning on Friday. So yeah, the first game it was disappointing. I really wanted to get us 3 points there, but it is what it is.
I think that it's fair. I mean, it's a critique that I've seen from a lot of people. Nobody's surprised. I did not watch the World Cup so far. I only watch when the women's are in the championship.
I woke up at 5 a.m. this morning for Germany. My dumb ass did that, yeah. So
I woke up at 5 a.m. to go to wrestling practice. Does that count?
Hey, right there with you, buddy. That's pretty good.
You moved from your bed to your couch. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. No, I think.
So if we want to talk about, let's talk about the some of the biggest stories, the first round of games. There's some big stories. So first off, you had the host country of Qatar. Everyone thought that they were betting to win the game, and they did not win the game. Funny enough, they did not. They lost to Morocco. Not Morocco. Was it Morocco? I don't know who it was. Oh no, it was Ecuador. They lost Ecuador, and they lost Ecuador pretty good.
Yeah.
And Ecuador beat them 2-0. And Qatar does not deserve to be in this World Cup. They're only there because they're hosting the games.
They outbid everybody else. Wasn't the World Cup supposed to be in the U.S.?
It was supposed to not be there. That's all I'll say. I don't know if it's supposed to be here. It's here in 26. So that's cool. But it just was not supposed to be there. So that was the news out the first day. The second day, England rolled Iran. Netherlands handled Senegal pretty well. Obviously, the U.S. and Wales that time. We just talked about that. And then the biggest story happened on Tuesday morning at 3 a.m. while the world was sleeping. Saudi Arabia beat Argentina and Lionel Messi 2-1. Yes, the great Lionel Messi, the team that not everyone, a lot of people were picking to win this World Cup. Argentina loses to one of the lowest ranked teams in Saudi Arabia. 2-1, not even draw a tie. 2-1, big loss. I mean, it was crazy watching the highlights of that because I did not wake up for that game. So I thought it'd be blowout. So I did not wake up for that game. But I watched the highlights and I was like, holy cow, how did Saudi Arabia figure this out? And it was a big win. Saudi Arabia named it a national holiday on Wednesday because they won. It was crazy. It's one of the biggest upsets in World Cup history. It is absolutely asinine what happened in Argentina now is in a hole. So it's going to be tough sledding for Argentina. Otherwise on Tuesday, we have Denmark, Tunisia tied, Mexico and Poland, Lewandowski and Ochoa, the guy that only shows up for the World Cup, basically, tied as well. Then you had France domination as well against Australia. France looks legit. France looks really legit.
And I have a kid that's in my class who's from Brazil, and he says that Brazil is going to win it this year. Do you agree?
Brazil has a squad. Brazil absolutely has a squad. So I'll get to Brazil here in a minute because they have yet to play. They play on Thanksgiving morning, though. So the big one this morning, on Wednesday morning, that broke my heart was Germany losing to Japan. Terrible loss. Up 1-0, and then you get to the 75th minute, and within 10 minutes, Japan takes a 2-1 lead on you. It is crazy. Germany has fell this far, and after winning the World Cup 2014, how far they fell. Because, man, that was a bad loss. So they've got to figure it out, and they've got to get something working because you have to get 2 wins now in a group that is very, very difficult. Then you look at Morocco, Croatia tying. Don't really need to worry about that. Spain dominating Costa Rica. Costa Rica is not good, so it doesn't really matter on that. Spain is just really that good. Belgium, big win against Canada. Canada still has yet to score a goal in the World Cup ever. So it's kind of a fun story there. But Belgium is a very good ball club. I like their team going forward a lot. And then on Thursday, we get our first look at the likes of Uruguay, who is a club everyone likes. Uruguay is a team that is sneaky good, that everyone loves, that a lot of people are betting on. You get first look at Ronaldo in Portugal against Ghana, and then you get the Brazil versus Serbia. So I mean, I like the way these first round matchups in the group stage have been going, but there's a lot of question marks for a lot of good teams. A lot of good teams, a lot of question marks.
That's kind of where we're at.
Why has Brazil not played? Hold on.
Yeah, I have no clue why they haven't played. There's 8 teams that haven't had a game yet, and I feel like the World Cup has been going on for quite some time.
So weird. They don't play until they don't play until fucking Sunday or Monday. Wow. That cannot be their first game. I must be missing something. Because that cannot be their first game. I'll find it.
11:20. No, they play tomorrow.
Oh, they play tomorrow. They play Serbia.
Yeah, tomorrow's Serbia it says 12 p.m.
That's right. You're right. I'm just losing track because of all the different countries I have to worry about.
There is a lot of international competition makes things a little bit difficult. It's like the UFC. Like, how do you pronounce this name? That country?
Oh, Ronaldo. That's I know that one. Messi. Yeah, I know that one too.
Cristiano.
The World Cup is absolutely heating up, and the biggest stories are off the field. Of course, they are. Whether it be them pulling alcohol from the stadiums and your main sponsor for the tournament being Budweiser, that's real funny. So they don't have. There's no alcohol in buildings, and if you sneak in alcohol, it's a 2.5-year probation in the country of Qatar, which I don't think anyone wants to do. So nope, don't want to do that. And then you have all the living conditions where it's just horrendous. I mean, it's as bad as you can get there. This country is not prepared for this World Cup, and it's showing it.
No, it's bad. I mean, it's similar to what happened when China hosted the Olympics. They build all of these brand new arenas, and then it brings in a lot of jobs, but then all those jobs stop when the Olympics are over, and then those places just sit there and they get like we played in the track and field arena that they built for. When I was in China, we played in the basketball. We played across the street from the basketball arena that they built, but we were on the track and field complex, and it was just like the seats were falling apart. They had done zero maintenance to their facilities. That's what their Qatar is about to do as well. I think we're at a good spot. We're about hour 45 in, so unless there's anything else you wanted to bring up,
I will say I was distraught after Sunday's football game that I picked up on the 25th day of football Christmas. Obviously, Tuesday was the last day. There's no football on Wednesday. Kind of weird. So 27 days, we ended up with a losing record. I'd like to say I'd like to apologize to absolutely nobody because I lost just as much money as you all did if you listened to me. So shut the fuck up and deal with it. So I'm not happy either. So we'll get on track and we'll be better with betting. Don't you worry. We'll get some better beats out there for you. Bula is taking a little breather too. He's taking a break because
when you lose that many in a row, I mean,
when you lose that many rows, it gets bad. It gets very, very bad. And sometimes you just need to take a breather. And that's what Bula's doing. And that's what the 27 days of football Christmas did. And we enjoyed our time with this 27 days of football Christmas. If there's two things you learn, you always bet on Ohio on action days. You never bet on the fucking Broncos. That's all you need to know. You bet on Ohio football in action. You don't bet on the Broncos. That's all you need to know.
With that, I think we're at a good spot. This has been Far End of the Bench, episode 117. We are presented by the Variety Sports Network. Be sure to check them out at variety_sports_. You can follow our show on social media at FEOTBpod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. We're going to have everything posting for you on Thanksgiving, so hopefully everybody enjoys a great holiday. A lot of football to be watched, both American and European football. Until we win on Friday.
Then it's soccer.
Then it'll be soccer. But there's plenty... Soccer. There's plenty of stuff for everybody to get going with. We'll have all the content ready for you guys, and we appreciate all of you. We're thankful for our bench warmers. We hope that you guys are enjoying the show still, and we're going to be back here talking everything sports next week. So for myself, Jimmy Blotto, my co-host Niko Bryant, this has been the Far End of the Bench. We will see you guys next time.
Peace.
If you don't stay down and you never quit, come on over here and sit on the far end of the bench.